let's bring Mary Aldred into the conversation. She is the federal Liberal member for the seat of Monash. Good morning.
Good morning, Beck.
Now, the Liberals have lost most of their metropolitan seats at the election. Now they've lost the Nationals, who represent large parts of regional Australia. Who do the Liberals represent now?
Liberals represent everyone from mainstream Australia, from the city to the country, who believe in regions, small business, a secure Australia, infrastructure, roads, farmers, whether you're a migrant, whether you've been here for generations, anyone that's got aspiration to make Australia a better, stronger place. And that's what I try to do from my seat in Monash, reflecting the views of our local community, from West Gippsland to South Gippsland to Bass Coast to parts of the Latrobe Valley. And I go to Canberra every week with a very, very clear vision of representing those views in Canberra.
How can we be sure that the country's truly represented, though, if the Nationals aren't in the coalition?
Well, I'm an optimist. I mean, we have been in
So
some
Darren
form
Chester.
of coalition.
He just said that at the start.
Yeah. Well, look, I think Darren and I go to Canberra with a very strong Team Gippsland region approach to our work. We work really well together and really closely together, as I do with my state coalition colleagues like Danny O'Brien, Melina Barth, Wayne Farnham. We work very much as a team in this region to deliver for our local community. But we've been in some form of a coalition since, I think, 1923. Of course, there have been some rough patches, but I'm an optimist. I think in the Australian national interest, we will come back together at some point.
But the last couple of years have been especially rough.
It's been a really difficult time, and I don't think it's a bad thing to take a moment for each of our respective parties to think through those issues. But I'm an optimist, and I think we will come back together at some point because this is a federal government that is leading Australia in a bad direction. It's ignoring regions like ours. And so we need a strong coalition to be able to, I think, get Australia back on a better track.
Do you think that in saying that the Nationals won't be able to work with Susan Lee, David Littleproud has wounded her leadership?
Look, I'm not going to sort of get into those issues. Issues of the National Party are for National MPs. Issues relating to the Liberal Party are for Liberal MPs. I'm focused on working as hard as I possibly can in my local community. We've got big challenges right now, particularly regarding the cost of living locally, people doing it really tough, and my full attention is on serving the best interest of my local community.
Mm. If there's a challenge, though, who do you support?
Susan Lee's doing a great job as leader of the opposition. She's been to Monash many times. I think she should continue in that role.
Okay. Now that the Liberals are free of the Nationals, and you could see it as that if you're an optimist, will you be able to come up with policies to win back voters that maybe you lost at the last election because of differing ideas on what should be the way forward, maybe whether it's climate change, things like that?
We're already doing that, Beck. So one of the things that I'm working on, I was appointed co-chair of the Backbench Policy Committee on the Australian People, which deals with youth affairs, mental health, Indigenous affairs, a whole range of areas to come up with innovative policies that engage people. I'm very keen to better engage young people in our region who often feel disaffected or disenfranchised or perhaps not listened to. I want to make sure that we're doing a much better job of listening to young people, listening to their challenges, their hopes, their aspirations, and reflecting those at a policy level. But this last week has been very challenging, right from Monday when we came together as a parliament to reflect on the Bondi attack, right through to the legislation that we've been dealing with. And these are complex issues; they're not simple issues.
Okay. Now, you voted no to gun control reforms. Do you still believe an overhaul of gun laws isn't needed, even when just yesterday afternoon 2 women and a man were shot dead in New South Wales?
Australia's got the strongest gun laws anywhere in the world. Um, and I think the focus of legislative reform needed to be on stopping radical Islamist extremists. I voted no to the government's gun legislation, even though there's been some mischievous and dishonest communication locally among some of my opponents about which way I voted, but I voted no. And if your listeners are wondering about which way members of parliament vote, they can go to the parliament's website and actually look at the roll call on votes. But I took the time to listen to farmers, to sporting shooters, to recreational hunters in our region who put back into our economy, who care for the environment. And I just felt that the government's legislation would unfairly punish law-abiding, responsible gun owners who already have very strong regulations in the way that they're able to operate. And so that's why it was a pretty simple decision for me to vote no. I advanced my views to my coalition colleagues, and I was really pleased that Liberal and National MPs across the board voted against those firearms laws.
What else can be done to stop shootings then, if it's not gun control?
Well, I think we need to look at one of the main motivations of the Bondi attack, which was radical Islamist extremism. And so this is where we come to the anti-hate legislation that was put forward, a really difficult issue, as complicated, complex pieces of legislation are, over 500 pages. I had some real concerns with limits on free speech and badly drafted legislation that would capture people and activities at a very broad range. And so that's why, instead of allowing the government to just get the Greens support to pass through very bad legislation, the Liberal Party put forward some amendments which were agreed to by the government to narrow those loopholes, to focus on radical Islamist extremists, neo-Nazis, to make sure that they were banned, but to protect some of the free speech concerns that we had.
Okay. Mary Aldred, thank you very much.
Thanks, Beck.